Hi everyone, we're getting ready to get started with our program. If you could please be seated. I think so.
Huh? Yeah, I think so.
Welcome to the 16th annual Juliette Low Leadership Society Luncheon. I'm Amy Crowley, Luncheon co-chair, and we are thrilled to see many friends of the Girl Scouts with us today. And we appreciate the continued support of all of our members and sponsors that have joined us each year.
And I'm Matilda Clements, Luncheon co-chair. To date, our supporters have helped raise nearly $4,500,000 for this fabulous organization. "16 years ago, a group of very talented and passionate women had a big dream and started this Juliette Low journey we are on. They weren't sure what the future would hold, but their vision and dedication prevailed. All of us here today would like to say thank you to this founding group for dreaming big and realizing what this organization could become. Will anyone here in this founding group of women please stand or raise your hand and allow us to say thank you?
We are very glad to have several of our elected officials with us today. Our city and state are prospering because of your commitment. Please stand and allow us to say thank you for helping us grow. I would also like to thank our arrangements committee for this beautiful room today and helping us realize our vision for 2020. The centerpieces on your table are available to purchase for $25. There's an envelope on your table to place your payment, or you may purchase at the registration table. And speaking of committees, I would like to ask the Luncheon Committee, the Girl Scouts Board President Diana Rogers Jager, the Board of Directors, the Juliette Low Leadership Society Advisory Board, and the Girl Scout staff that worked so hard to make this event possible to please stand. These tireless workers, volunteers, and staff called, wrote letters, emailed, and met with hundreds of people to raise more than $320,000 to provide Girl Scout scholarships and programming throughout the 39 western Oklahoma counties. So please join me in a round of applause for this entire volunteer staff support.
Thank you all so very much for the hard work and support you have given us throughout this past year. Our goals have been met because of you. And now, the Girl Scout Promise was first spoken 106 years ago. It still holds the values of Girl Scouts for us today. Please stand and join some of our wonderful Gold Award members as we recite this promise and law found on page 2 of your program.
On my honor, I will try to serve God and my country, to help people at all times, and to live by the Girl Scout law. I will do my best to be honest and fair, friendly and helpful, considerate and caring, courageous and strong, responsible for what I say and do, respect myself and others, respect authority, use resources wisely, make the world a better place, and be a sister to every Girl Scout.
Okay, please go ahead and be seated as lunch will now be served. Our program will continue shortly, but as you wait for your meal, please take advantage of the time to purchase raffle tickets for our larger and most amazing larger-than-life raffle basket that is worth over $6,500, and the details of the raffle are in the insert of your program.
This is also a good time to purchase your ceremonial pearls to wear in honor of Juliette Gordon Low, who sold her strand of pearls to finance the very first Girl Scout troop. If you are in the room and you'd like to purchase any of these things, just please raise your hand and we'll have someone stop by your table. Purchasing the pearls will enter you to win a beautiful pair of custom earrings donated from Valerie Nafee Fine Jewelry, and we're truly grateful to Valerie for her generous support.
And we also would like to welcome our guest. An annual membership is $250 to represent the cost of funding a Girl Scout for 1 year. Please sign up on your membership today and stop by the pin table to turn in your donation card and get your pin. Those of you wearing your Juliette Low pin, Leadership Society pins, are encouraged to stop by the table and receive another pearl if you have not already done so. And each pearl symbolizes every year that you have been a member of the Juliette Low Leadership Society.
Lunch will now be served, so please enjoy your meal and remember to save some room. We have a wonderful troupe who will be selling cookies as you're leaving the luncheon today. Enjoy your meal.
Please continue to enjoy your lunch. We have an amazing program ahead for you, but first we'd like to thank our sponsors: Devon Energy, the Chickasaw Nation, Josephine Freedy, Annie Bohannon, the Anschutz Company, Clements Foods Foundation, Corner Energy, Nedra Funk, Joan Gilmore, NS Much Foundation, G. McLaughlin, OG&E, Polly Nichols, Lil Ross, Sandler Training, and Sonic Drive-In for supporting us. We appreciate your partnership and support.
Each year, Girl Scouts of Western Oklahoma selects a woman who represents excellence as our honorary chair. This year, Amy and I were privileged to select an exceptional and visionary woman, Mrs. Joan Gilmore. We would like to show a short video to introduce all of you to this amazing woman and founding member of our organization. Amy and I would also like to thank Alex Cameron from News 9 Washington Bureau and Andrew Harris from Liquid Media for generously donating their time in putting together this very special tribute to our dear Joan.
I came from a factory town in Illinois, and I never knew I was going to end up in Oklahoma.
But fortunately for Oklahoma, Joan Gilmore did end up here after graduating from Drury University, taking a job writing about engagements and weddings for a small newspaper in Muskogee.
And then the editor came over and said, the county fair is starting, go out there. And I said, why? And he said, what do you mean? And I said, well, what are we going to do out there? He said, you're supposed to write a story about it. And so that was it. I was a journalist.
Joan learned fast and soon was being courted by papers in Tulsa and Oklahoma City.
And the Oklahoma took me first. And I didn't know a soul. Came to town, didn't know anybody. My first event was Junior Hospitality Club. I was the only member that wasn't married. And I was the only one that had a job.
She stuck with that job for more than 2 decades, made a brief stab at PR before the Journal Record asked her to come on board as a columnist.
And so I was at it again. And I've been there 20 years.
Over those many years, Joan not only reported on events, she got involved with events. So much so, her friends say, she became a trusted and sought-after commodity.
Everybody wanted Joan.
Everybody
involved.
wanted Joan. And they still do.
Yes. Yeah.
She is the Energizer Bunny. It's like she just keeps going and going and going.
She's part of the family. She's whatever board you're on, everybody needs publicity, and Joan is so generous with her time.
James Pickle and Cathy Keating are big admirers of Joan the journalist.
What she has done professionally, what she has continued to do all these many years, she has blazed her own path in a male-dominated profession.
But they are even bigger admirers of Joan, their friend. The former First Lady recalls the time just after she had moved to Washington.
And I felt this huge death in my family of my loss of all my Oklahoma family. And Joan was a part of that family. And on my birthday, I got a birthday card from her with a message. And I got a birthday card every year thereafter. And it reconnected me. It was so significant because as I was going through, as you do, the stages of loss, and it really was a real loss to me, there was Joan on my birthday saying, "I'm thinking of you."
I think we could all try to emulate Joan and be a complete friend.
Linda Hanneborg also has been blessed by Joan's friendship, as has her daughter Brooke, who remembers her first exposure to Joan.
As a child, there used to be this very unique and definitive and contemporary invitation that would come to the house at the holidays. She had this, from what I understand, was a very famous holiday party every year. And unfortunately, I was too young and I never got to attend.
Joan's been famous for a lot of things: her annual holiday party, her signature red glasses, and jet-setting lifestyle.
To think that she has dined with celebrities from around the world, she has wined with the most eligible bachelors, and she married a professional photographer, a very famous photographer. What a life.
Life that's now being honored and held up as an example for Girl Scouts. Joan says she's not worthy.
I'm embarrassed when I'm around those girls. They're so smart. They're learning so much. I don't know how to do anything. They are so smart. And the women who are taking care of them are leading them in the right direction.
And so are you, Joan.
When I think about Girl Scouts and their mission to empower young women, I mean, there truly couldn't be a better role model than Joan.
She is the perfect example for the mission of the Girl Scouts, for these girls. This example that she has set for all of these years as a wife, a journalist, a friend, a committee member, a fundraiser.
Girl Scouts are the embodiment of leadership and developing young women, helping young women really develop themselves to become the best that they can be. And there's no other greater inspiration than Joan Gilmore, because she created her path.
She talks about other people, she writes about other people. Now's our time to really elevate Joan and tell the world all the great things that she stands for.
She made her way. She came to a strange state where she knew no one, made it her home, made it her life, made it her career, and whatever hurdles that she encountered along the way, they were hurdles that she hopped over. And that's what the Girl Scouts are all about. Never give up, be passionate about what it is you want to be, and go for the gold.
So sweet. Now I am thrilled to introduce our keynote speaker, Cathy Guisewite. She is the creator of the Cathy cartoon that appeared in over 1,400 newspapers every day for nearly 34 years. Cathy found her way into the hearts of readers and has been there ever since. Her deeply relatable look at the challenges of womanhood and changing a world became a touchstone for women everywhere, winning her praise, awards, including an Emmy, and the high honor of having her work displayed on the fronts of refrigerators across the land right next to the food. Today, her story picks up in a book of thoughtful, funny, and hope-filled essays about the grown-up years, aging children, aging parents, aging self, and the glorious freedom to liberate ourselves from all the things which are not our fault. So, please join us in welcoming lifetime Girl Scout member, Cathy Guisewite.
Thank you.
You have no idea how long I've waited for the opportunity to wear my badge sash again. Doesn't come up that often in Los Angeles. Things that fit everyone else don't fit me. Things that work on everyone else don't work on me. Things that make sense to everyone else make no sense to me. Things that everyone else knows about, I've never heard of. It's true now, and it was true when I was in elementary school, when all the girls somehow knew about and joined brownies before I did. I thought it was some kind of private club. When a friend finally insisted that I go to a meeting one day, and I found out it wasn't a private club, it was all my friends having fun in Joanne DeCare's basement. The girls said they assumed that I'd known about it all along and that I just always had piano lessons or something on that day. I ran home and I asked Mom, why does everybody else always know about everything before I do? This is not the first time I was out of the loop. All Mom could do was hug me because, you know, Mom is my gene pool, and Mom... My mom is even more out of the loop than I am. But when I came home from school the next day, waiting for me on the kitchen table, wrapped in tissue paper and a ribbon, was a secondhand brownie uniform. And it became my proudest possession, my uniform of belonging. I was so thrilled with it that on class picture day, when all the other girls wore their nice dresses for the picture, I was only one of 2 girls who wore my brownie uniform. That would be me. No one knows more than I do that leadership can take a lot of different forms and that it can be planted in ways we often don't realize in all kinds of girls. I was a shy, quiet, out-of-the-loop girl with an out-of-the-loop mom. I never spoke up. I never told one joke. I never did anything to call attention to myself. I never broke rules. I never took risks. I never, ever raised my hand to be in charge of anything. I was the last person on earth who would grow up to be a voice for anything or a leader of anyone. Except that I became a Brownie, and then a cadet, and then a junior, and then a senior Girl Scout. And all those years forged in me a great sense of belonging, connection, accomplishment, and a core of confidence so deep that even my worst grown-up moments can somehow be spun into something a little bit powerful. Because I was a Girl Scout, I became a woman who never gives up. Cathy says 24 hours of willpower done in by one donut. Unbelievable. I keep thinking I'll change, and then I do the exact same thing. Every day, the exact same rut. I get up, give myself the big motivational speech, feel self-righteous for 2 hours, eat a donut. Why do I even bother with the preamble? Why not just get up, eat the donut, and be done with it? Why not just leave a box of donuts next to the bed? So I don't even have to bother getting up and pretending I'm not going to have one. Why not just go to sleep with a donut in my mouth? So I don't even have to bother waking up before I start chewing. Her friend says, "Why not just keep donuts out of your house, Cathy?" Cathy says, "What, and let them think they're winning?" Because I was a Girl Scout, I'm a woman who never gives up. Because I was a Girl Scout, I got brave enough to ask things that it turns out a lot of women wondered. Why didn't Irving call me back? Why didn't he say he missed me? Why do I even care? Why does he still get to me? Why is he so infuriating? Why are all men so completely infuriating? Why? Years of study, and all we know is that it's called the Y chromosome. Because I was a Girl Scout, I have the strength to stand up against injustice, and because I was a Girl Scout, I have the good manners to be a little bit pleasant about it. She screams, "Sue the hairstylist." I'm picketing the shop. I'm calling the owner. I'm writing the Better Business Bureau. I'll have her license revoked. I'll put her out of business. She will rue the day she trashed my life for $65 plus tip. Her friend says, "You gave her a tip?" I didn't want her to think I was dissatisfied. Because I was a Girl Scout, where family values were so supportive, I have a deep bond with my family, and I am proud to give my mother credit for almost everything. Mom says, "I'm sure your stomach wants more pie, but what is your brain telling you?" Cathy says, "My brain wants the pie too." What's your common sense telling you? My common sense wants the pie. What's your heart telling you? My heart wants the pie. Fine, eat the pie. You're a grown woman. You know what you're doing. Eat the whole pie. And Mom stomps out of the room. Cathy turns to Dad and says, "Mother made me eat a pie." Because I was a Girl Scout, I got stretched to be so much more, but I also got okay with who I am. And it turns out that who I am is someone who kind of likes being out of the loop. I like standing on the edge of the party, watching and listening, much more than I like being in the middle of the mix. It's from that place on the side that I spent my career watching, listening, and writing about the female spirit. What makes us soar? What holds us back? What the great big things that fuel our dreams, and the little icky, often hidden things that sabotage us and make us wake up in the middle of the night and hold hands with the refrigerator, and then have to live with the consequences for months. I tried the liquid diet, but it was too unsatisfying. She's on the phone telling this to her mom. I tried the grapefruit and hard-boiled egg diet, but it was too disgusting. I tried the Beverly Hills diet, Malibu diet, South Beach diet, and a diet named after a mini mall in Saginaw, Michigan. I tried the Zone, Atkins, cabbage soup, and the gluten-free toast fast. Mom says, "At least you're trying, sweetie." Cathy says, "Thanks, Mom." I tried them all today. The world has changed a lot since I earned my badges. The perfect vision of 2020 focused on the 4 pillars of the Girl Scout leadership experience is exactly what's needed right now to help girls navigate this sometimes confusing time with strength, hope, and to become leaders in their own lives and in the world. I cannot tell you how thrilled I was when I got the call to be here today. There's no place I would rather be. I am so honored to be here on the 16th anniversary of the Juliette Low Leadership Society to help you launch this incredibly new decade. First, I want to spend a few minutes looking at how the world has changed for today's girls. Look at this beautiful, complicated new world they're living in. In Juliette Low's day, women pretty much had one option: be the homemaker. My generation dreamed of having it all, and that was 2 options: having a family and a job. Today, most girls will grow up expecting to not only have a family and a job, but have a meaningful career and be an investment expert, environmental activist, community leader, creative homemaker, book club organizer, school board member, workout devotee, global change maker, weekend yoga instructor, organic gardener, and an online influencer with a blog, YouTube channel, and a Pinterest page, and be a size 6 all at once. In a couple short years, we've gone from "I am woman, hear me roar" to this: "I am woman, hear me snore." When the message is that all girls and women can do everything, it's very hard not to get the feeling that all the other girls and women are doing everything and I alone am stuck in the same old ruts. Cathy says, when I was 5 pounds overweight, I stayed that weight for a month and couldn't lose an ounce. When I was 10 pounds overweight, I stayed that weight for 3 months and couldn't lose an ounce. Now I've been 15 pounds overweight for 2 years and I can't lose an ounce. The fatter I get, the better my maintenance diet works. In spite of all the empowering messages that are out there today, it can feel as if everyone else has skills I don't have. Everyone knows something I don't know. And from that, it's a very short leap for girls and women to start feeling that everyone else is always right. Cathy says, "Oh no, everyone wore a skirt tonight. I knew I should have worn a skirt." Her friend says, "Cathy, why do you always assume everyone else is right? They might all be looking at you and thinking they should have worn pants." Everyone in this room might be looking at me right now. She says, "That's right. Now I really wish I wore a skirt." Look what's happened to self-image. The powerful message is, of course, that looks don't matter. Beauty is on the inside. We know that. We teach our children that. We raise our daughters believing that. But girls are growing up in a world of apps where like Snapchat, where they have to be camera ready from the second they get out of bed in the morning, where they're compared all day long by the selfies they take. Oh, this is how I take a selfie. The bag. The powerful new message is that weight doesn't matter. But girls are growing up in a world of skin-tight clothes, Spanx that goes from the chest to the thighs, to the calves, Victoria's Secret lingerie, and a swimwear department that still doesn't get it. The lady says, women's swimwear has always been designed for two body types, thin and plump. This year at last, we're seeing suits for bodies that are curvy, natural, real, robust, healthy, and strong. We finally have something in swimwear we never thought possible. More adjectives. Cathy says fabric. We wanted more fabric. Even if the cover of the magazine says that we celebrate all the beautiful, healthy body types, all the beautiful, healthy shapes and sizes, guess what? The inside of the magazine still has article after article after article about how to lose weight by summer. Cathy screams, $75 for this swimsuit. Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind? Every year the suits get smaller and the prices get larger, and the women of this country are sick of it. We are not going to take it anymore. Understand? We are not going to take it. She throws the suit down and stomps out. Her friend says, didn't fit? Are you kidding? If it had fit, I would have given her $300 for it. It gets confusing. Look what's happened to money. Women finally have the power of real financial freedom. We hold the purse strings. But girls today are growing up in a world where there are 10,000 pairs of cute shoes one click away on their iPads, and millions of beauty products and everything else. So girls not only are going to be holding the purse strings, they're going to be hauling the purses and the bills. That's me with my purse. Look what's happened to time. There's a universe of new time-saving devices, but girls are also growing up where there's a universe of new ways to not get anything done, things that use up our time. All the time that I spend owning a smartphone is now used up. All the time I saved by owning a smartphone is now used by me trying to find my smartphone or find my glasses so I can read what's on my smartphone. There are so many choices in the grocery store. It takes me longer to figure out which loaf of bread to buy than it took Grandma to bake one from scratch, from grain she harvested, in the fields. I can't go to dinner parties anymore because I'm 8,000 episodes behind on my TV watching. And I never have any idea what anyone's talking about. And girls are also growing up at a time where just being female simply takes more time and is more complicated. Sales lady says, reduces fine lines, minimizes pores, covers, conceals, shrinks, diminishes so you can feel good about yourself. I'd feel even better about myself if you weren't trying to make so much of me disappear. When you add up the amount of time that women spend on skincare, makeup, hair care, and pretty much every other female essential, when you multiply that out by the amount of extra time it takes us to buy just the basic things, underwear, blue jeans, swimsuits, footwear, you multiply that by the amount of time that women still do way more of the home and child care. And I figure that at the end of it, men have about 18,000 extra hours a year. I wrote about shopping a lot because I think it's a microcosm of the extra expectations that come with being a woman. That it seems like that part is only going to get worse for our girls. It's already getting worse. There's so many things that use up our time in ways we don't even realize that can chip away at our confidence and our sense of competence. And so at the end of the day, that starts so promising, a woman or a girl is left feeling like, I didn't get anything done and somehow it's my fault. The simple act of trying to find a white shirt is completely different for a woman and a man. For a woman, buying a white shirt looks something like this. I'm not going to read it, but it's like every possible style, shape, design, fabric, cut, in every department, from here to there, for every different occasion, requires a different white shirt of a different fit, a different fabric. When a man goes to buy a white shirt, it looks like this. Here, white shirt. To look professional, most men can still walk in and buy a suit. No big deal. For a woman, not so much. Real clothes for real women. The wagon train driver, the safari guide, the rock star, the cowgirl, the game show hostess, the lingerie model. Cathy says, I work in an office. We don't have anything for that. Look what's happened to guilt. When I was a girl and ate a muffin, I had a little calorie guilt. Today, girls are growing up in a world where when they eat a muffin, they're going to have the calorie guilt, the carbohydrate guilt, the fat guilt, the sugar guilt, the gluten guilt, the non-organic blueberry guilt, the manufacturing process pollution guilt, the non-biodegradable wrapper guilt. And as they grow up, that's only going to multiply. I know because I have Netflix guilt. I have podcast guilt. I have meditation guilt. I know I should be spending quiet time each day to clear my mind of negativity and embrace the beauty of now. But so many days, it's just way more efficient to skip the uplifting affirmations and simply shut my eyes in the shower. Look what's happened to love. My generation spent decades negotiating healthier relationships between men and women. But girls are growing up in a world of impossible new expectations, way fewer rules, way scary freedoms, and commitment that still often comes from the wrong place at the wrong time. I wasted the best years of my life wishing for a relationship with men who never called and didn't want to commit, primping, plotting, studying the male brain books, a fortune spent on shoes for men who never once looked at my feet, nothing. Last year I went online, not to find love, but I was shopping for appliances. And I clicked on an ad one time for a juicer. The juicer company has been courting me ever since. It emails me every day, asks about my wants and needs. It reminds me it's still available. It asks what it can do to make itself more attractive to me. It remembers my birthday. Last week, it sent me a Valentine. The world has changed a lot. Girls have so many new ways to connect and lots of new ways to feel alone. Their apps can make them feel unloved. The fashion industry can make them feel they don't belong. The superstar role models can make them feel it's impossible. Too many options can make them lose focus. Inequities between boys and girls, men and women, can make them feel it's hopeless. Girls have never needed Girl Scouts more. Never needed the 4 pillars of the Girl Scout leadership experience more to ground them, to lift them above the conflicting messages and pressures, and give them the home base of confidence and inspiration and tools to become real leaders in the world and in their own lives. They weren't called the 4 pillars when I was a Girl Scout, but the principles of the pillars form the foundation upon which I have stood my entire life. The pillar of outdoors. As a Girl Scout, I camped, canoed, hiked, backpacked, started fires without matches, slept under the stars, swam in freezing rivers. I studied insects and bugs, or insects and birds, and for one very long weekend, I lived on burned marshmallows when my tent mates and I thought it was a great idea to take all the powdered dinners that the troop leader had provided and dump them out in a hole in the woods. As a grown-up, there hasn't been one day that I haven't survived something in life by using a survival skill that I learned as a Girl Scout outdoors. I don't just mean the practical things, like learning to use tools or learning to make tools out of sticks and ropes and rocks when tools weren't available, but I mean the big things. Paddling for miles in an overloaded canoe, I learned about teamwork, balance, and how to keep a sense of humor about an overloaded life. Having to deal with the high drama of unimagined disasters in the wilderness with no phone, no Google, no internet, and no instruction book gave me the resourcefulness and calm emotional stamina to raise a teenage daughter. Ta-da. Ta-da. Rising from a soggy sleeping bag and a leaking tent and facing another impossible day-long hike gave me the endurance to rise from my insecurity and face more than 10,000 daily deadlines during the 34 years I did the comic strip. And it gave me the bravery to face this uncharted new territory I'm in right now in my life, which I wrote about in my new book, which dealing with aging parents, an aging daughter, and my aging self squashed in the middle. So squashed that instead of the sandwich generation, I refer to it as the panini generation. In nature, I gained a deep curiosity for all living things, including the men I dated. Cathy says, "So Kenny, are you involved?" "Involved? Phew, you have to be these days," he says. "I'm involved in cross-training, circuit training, mental endurance conditioning. I work with a nutritionist, a trainer, a sports tutor, a chiropractor, and of course, do plenty of one-on-one with the man in the mirror." She says, "Are you involved with anyone besides yourself?" He says, "Who has time?" Girl Scouts taught me how to tie the knots, but it also taught me to love untangling them. And I love taking apart, unwinding complicated relationships and writing about it. The relationships between men and women, between women and their mothers, and between women and their willpower. How could I buy 2 pairs of boots? What was I thinking? Where's my self-control? Why? Lady says, "May I help you?" I found boots, now I'm browsing for a brain cell. She says, "Hoo boy, nobody accessorizes with those anymore." The outdoors help me keep me in tune with a powerful inner compass that, even with no GPS, always leads me home, always leads me back to my roots. Mom says, "I've typed a list of subjects I won't bring up during the holidays, Cathy." Cathy says, "A list?" She says, "Any one of these 46 subjects could annoy you and ruin your visit. I will not bring them up." Cathy says, "Mother, do you think I'm so immature you have to have a list of topics to avoid? I can't believe it." Cathy storms out of the room. Mom says, "Number 47, don't mention the list." And of course, the outdoors taught me to be prepared, to pack responsibly for any and all contingencies. So I packed 17 different outfits for my 2-day stay in Oklahoma City. Not only am I never confident what size I'll be by the time the plane lands, but as usual, I started packing at 1 in the morning when I'm not exactly at the peak of my decision-making skills and when my sense of reality is most distorted. So I packed a variety of clothes for my talk today. And then I packed several outfits for yesterday when I visited the middle school. I packed a couple different looks for a lovely meet and greet we had last night. I bought in total 4 pairs of virtually identical but completely different black pants, including one that might be more perfect than all the others but needs to be hemmed, so I packed a sewing kit. I packed a mini steamer in case the hotel iron doesn't work. I considered throwing in a mini generator in case the power went out in the hotel. You have no idea how much I wish I were exaggerating. It gets worse. I thought, what if in the 6 free minutes I have in town, I decide to start the workout program I quit 5 years ago? I packed my workout clothes. What if I'm invited on a spontaneous hike by some of the wonderful Girl Scouts I meet? I packed hiking clothes, a backpack, and a hydration system. What if after the hike, I stop in the hotel coffee shop for a rejuvenating smoothie and my eyes lock with a handsome stranger across the room? I packed a cute hat to pull on over my hiking hair. What if we start chatting and decide to go for a walk around the area? I packed a pretty wrap that I could toss over my backpack. Not wanting to appear unprofessional and indecisive, I crammed everything into one tiny carry-on bag, which quickly expanded to one big suitcase and one carry-on bag. So much was smashed into so little space that the label of the rejuvenating avocado mask that I've also owned for 6 years and never used, but somehow thought I would on this trip, the label of the avocado mask is permanently embedded into the evening gown that I threw in, just in case the handsome stranger begs me to stay an extra day and we go to a formal dinner party. Okay. The pillar of life skills. My Girl Scout troop knitted mittens for the homeless, planted thousands of trees in Michigan, sewed blankets for animal shelters. We wrote, practiced, and made costumes for plays that we put on for Retirement Center. We got the incredible satisfaction of learning to do and make things, and then the even greater satisfaction of getting to make someone else feel better with what we had made. My entire career was born from that concept, making something and then making someone else feel better by sharing it. Being brave enough to admit struggles and then making others feel better who might have shared the same struggles. She's wearing the cone of shame over our box of chocolates. Declaring personal triumphs that weren't obvious to others helped me declare personal triumphs, helped me help others declare their own personal triumphs. Her friend walked into the kitchen and says, "Here, I'll help you with these cookies. Where's the rest of the dough?" Cathy says, "I ate it." You ate it? You only got 9 cookies out of a recipe that was supposed to make 2 dozen? Friend says, "Cathy, I can't believe this." Cathy says, "Neither can I. I usually only get 6. I wrote about food a lot, because I spent several years being way overweight, and I know the impact that it has on every single second of life. And even being thin, I know that we all still have to face food every few hours, and like it or not, the choices we make about the food we eat does a lot for how we're going to feel about ourselves for the rest of the day or month. Life skills taught me about healthy eating habits, but I also learned the importance of applying my own filter to a world of completely conflicting information. Carbs are good, then carbs are bad. Then carbs are good again. Then carbs were bad. Then fat was bad. Then fat was good. Then fat was bad again. Then chocolate was good. Then chocolate was bad. Nutritional facts got so confusing that my friends and I survived by inventing and relying on our own wisdom. Chocolate that you don't like but eat anyway is metabolized differently because the body knows you're just being nice to the icky pieces. Chocolate eaten right out of the freezer has negative calories because of the extra energy the body expends having its fillings ripped out by the frozen caramel centers. Chocolate that someone else poked his or her finger into and then left doesn't count at all because the calories get applied to the rude person who would do such a thing. We also decided we were much happier with our own measuring system. This is a manufacturer's version of a 100-calorie portion of ice cream. This is my version of a 100-calorie portion of ice cream. Cathy says, I might not love myself, but I prefer myself. Life skills reinforced the importance of family, of honoring parents, and of course it helped encourage learning to set healthy boundaries. Cathy says, I love you, Mom, but I will never be like you. I will never think like you, I'll never act like you, I'll never look like you. Mom says, oh, I know, Cathy, I used to say the exact same thing to my mother. And you know what? I ended up thinking just like her, acting just like her, and just looking just like her. See? You're just like me already. We are exactly alike. Cathy runs from the room screaming. Mom says, oh, isn't that cute? That's just what I used to do. Because I go nowhere without my mother's voice, I brought a little bit of her voice here for you today.
Hi, I'm Cathy Guisewite, Cathy's mom, with an inspirational quote from her new book. Ack! Thank you.
Yeah. So my mom turned 98 last month. As you can see, this was taken a few months before that. So as you can see, she does not act her age. But sadly, I don't either. I love my mom. I depend on her. I need her. I call on her for everything. She is my best friend in the world. But even now, in these precious bonus years, where I am so aware that every time I'm with Mom could be the last time, even now, Mom and I cannot be in the same room with each other without trying to be the boss of each other. My publisher had me narrate the audiobook version of my new book, and I thought what a wonderful thing it would be if my mom could narrate the mom parts in some of the chapters. So this was one of the most meaningful things I could imagine, to have my mother in a recording studio recording her voice to live forever in my book. Could I let Mom do it her own way? I could not. So I'm going to show you a little clip. This is Mom in me in the recording session. At this point, we had been rehearsing the same line for about 45 minutes. The same 3 sentences for about 45 minutes. The essay is about mom driving, and I say ack, and all I need is for mom to say what in an aggravated voice, and then say, no, I want you to drive, emphasizing you. So, I want you to drive. You're doing a great ack.
What?
What? More like just what? What?
What?
You lurched again.
Do you want to drive?
Right. Do you want to drive?
Do you want to drive?
Yeah, like that. Okay, so we'll start from the top again. Ack!
What?
What? You're not asking me a question.
What?
Pretending I'm in your kitchen and I'm going, ack! And you go,
what? What? What?
What? She snapped her head toward me, glaring. You lurched, I snapped back.
I lurched because you screamed.
I screamed because you lurched.
Do you want to drive?
Say, do you want to drive?
Do you want to drive?
No, I want you to drive. You're doing a great ack.
What?
She's hopeless. And so am I. The pillar of STEM. So when I started Girl Scouts, I lived in Midland, Michigan in the 1950s. And science, technology, engineering, and math were boy things, like baseball, woodworking, trains, and cars. I didn't have badges for those things because it wasn't emphasized. Not even in Midland, Michigan, which was the home of Dow Chemical Company, and everybody's dad was a scientist. But I did have something that a lot of the Girl Scouts didn't have, which is I had a dad who bought me a train set when I was 10 years old. And I had a grandfather who was a high school shop teacher, and he bought me a tool set. And the three of us, my dad, grandfather, and I, spent hundreds of hours building things and taking them apart. Trains, cars, all kinds of things. Yesterday, I got to tour the incredible new camp that you all have made possible, and I was blown away by the STEM section of the camp and what is possible for young girls today to start learning what is just going to be blended into their lives as a normal, lovable, wonderful, fun, exciting, challenging thing. I'm just so excited about the possibilities of STEM that you're making possible for the girls. In my day, my big scientific questions came down to things like this, sadly. The lady says, the incredible new world of anti-aging technology has brought us hyaluronic acid injectables to plump the skin, non-ablative photorejuvenation to trigger collagen production, electronic muscle stimulators to tighten sags and create fullness, 10,000 over-the-counter volumizing elixirs. Cathy says, anything to get the gelato I'm about to eat to land in my eye wrinkles instead of my rear? Lady says, hoo boy, no, that's way too advanced for science. The pillar of entrepreneurship. When I was a new brownie, I was forced out of my shy comfort zone to sell Girl Scout cookies. In those days, we went door to door while our moms watched out the kitchen windows. Even though I was only approaching people that I had known my entire life, this was an excruciating concept for me. I was the last person on earth who could knock on somebody's door and ask them to buy something. So I put it off until the last possible day of the last weekend before I had to turn in my cookie sheet. And I finally forced myself to go to my next door neighbor's door and tap on the door. I tapped so lightly so that praying that nobody would hear, praying, that there'd be no answer so I could run home and honestly say I had tried and that was that. But Mrs. Nakurvis answered her door. Mrs. Nakurvis smiled and bought 1 box of Thin Mint cookies. And in that moment, something in me clicked. I kind of optimistically moved on to Mrs. Romsberg's house, and the same thing happened. And then I went to the Hickman house, and the same thing happened. Everyone smiled and bought Girl Scout cookies. By the time I turned in my cookie sheet, I had sold more cookies than all the other girls who were way more outgoing and way more confident than I was, who I had every reason to believe would be way better at selling Girl Scout cookies. I loved how it made me feel like I was an important part of the group. I loved planning all the good things our troop was going to do with money that I helped earn. I loved how strong it made me feel. I loved setting new goals and figuring out budgets. Even better, I discovered that I loved working. I loved the feeling of acceptance, accomplishments, and independence it gave me. I loved that working was something I could do completely on my own, and that it was something that would connect me to my group. I discovered I loved working so much that I threw myself into summer jobs in high school and into jobs in college. And I dove so completely into work after college that by the time I was 25, I was vice president of an advertising agency. By age 26, I had started my comic strip, which was syndicated internationally. By my late 30s, I'd formed a licensing company and hired a whole office of people to help me sell and merchandise hundreds of Cathy products. I had met a president, Jimmy Carter, chatted with Johnny Carson many times, posed for magazine covers, done 3 animated specials and many books. I'd had an ice cream shop named after my character at Universal Studios in Florida, which is still there. Those little tiny people in front, that's my dad, mom, and my, at that time, 6-year-old daughter. I'd won an Emmy, and for some bizarre reason, I was the Grand Marshal of the Kentucky Derby Parade one year. With a Cathy balloon the size of a blimp flying over my head. That's what the pillar of entrepreneurship launched in me. That's what selling 1 box of Thin Mints to Mrs. Nakurvis lit up in me. I was blessed beyond belief to get to connect so personally with so many women and their mothers for so many years through the comic strip. To put into perspective some of the complications that shape all of our days. Over the years, I learned that no matter what it looks like on the outside, we all struggle with pretty much the exact same things on the inside. We all have the same daily challenge of trying to keep a sense of humor about the little things so we have the strength and energy to take on the big things. And it isn't easy. As much as today's girls and women get the message that we're all in this together, we still all face the magnifying makeup mirrors alone. And at the end of another day that got used up by way too many things that were out of our control, it's tempting to zoom in only on the doubts, the insecurities, and the comparisons. Every single hope and dream still has to be filtered through the human element of every girl and grown-up. And no one can take on the world if she can't take the first step out the front door. The Girl Scout leadership experience blasts the door wide open. The 4 pillars give girls an incredible foundation from which to launch and upon which they can stand for the rest of their lives. I know, because my wonderful life would not have been possible if I hadn't been a Girl Scout. I got my confidence, my curiosity, my optimism, perspective, my resourcefulness, my work ethic, my values. I got my stamina, my lifelong friends, and a drive to never give up on anything. When things were impossible and everyone around me was always quitting, my dad always turned to my mom and said, these were always his words, "There she goes again, giving it the Girl Scout try." I have gotten to experience many incredible things as a result of the wonderful work I've gotten to do. But of all the great places I've been privileged to go and the amazing people I've gotten to meet, you need to know that nothing has meant more to me than getting to be here with the Juliette Low Leadership Society today. To be with all of you, to get to launch this incredible, impossible, wonderful, thrilling new decade for our girls. To have a chance to say thank you to all of you for all that Girl Scouts has meant to me and so much more. Thank you for the young lives you inspire and the grateful mom and dads you support with the strong girls you build and send home. Thank you for your outreach to the girls in foster care and now the middle schools who have no other foundation, no other support system, and you provide, and no chance to be a Girl Scout were it not for what you are providing for them. Thank you for the dreams you make possible, the leaders you nurture, and the wonderful citizens you create. Thank you for the unbelievably generous contributions all of you have made and are making to girls you're never going to meet, but who are going to go on to change the world because of what you have given them. Thank you for how, because of you, girls of Western Oklahoma will protect our planet, save lives, explore, invent, reach for the stars, and probably discover some. Thank you for the generation of girls and boys who are going to come after this generation of girls that will be better and stronger people because of what you're instilling in the girls who will grow up to be their moms. On behalf of all of them, thank you from the bottom of my heart for believing in every single girl. Thank you.
So I don't think we could have had a better spokesperson for Girl Scouts than Cathy, a true Girl Scout alum to the very core. I have thrown away all of my notes because she covered everything I wanted to cover to make sure you understand what Girl Scouts does and why we need Girl Scouts so much in our community. And in the interest of time, I know you really want to hear about the raffle. So before I get off the stage and announce that, I really want to take just a minute to thank each and every one of you for being in this room and for supporting the Juliette Low Leadership Society. Like Cathy said, our girls need us now more than ever, and your contributions when you become a member, when you sponsor this, allow us to do incredible programs for girls. And this year is probably one of our most exciting years as we launch into our new decade. We're able to serve every single middle school girl in the Oklahoma City Public School District that wants to be a Girl Scout free of charge because they need us. The school district has reached out to us. They want us to provide our STEM programming and our anti-bullying curriculum, our self-esteem curriculum, our entrepreneurial programs, because they identified girls need us at that age the most, and that's where we started. But in the future and within the next decade, hopefully we can be serving every single girl at every single elementary, middle, and high school because they all need us. So that would not be possible without each and every one of you. And for our chairs, our co-chairs, for Amy and Matilda, you've done an incredible job. You're in committees like every single year. You guys outdo each other every year. The staff, and of course our honorary chair, Joan Gilmore. You are all role models for all of our girls, and I'm so proud of you. So thank you so much for everything that you've done, and thank you for joining us today.
We would like to thank our friends at Full Circle Bookstore for joining us today and providing us with the opportunity to purchase Cathy's books. They are generously donating 15% of all their sale proceeds from this event back to JLLS. Lastly, we want to remind you that there will be a book signing by Cathy immediately following our conclusion. Also, don't forget to purchase your favorite box of cookies as you leave. Thank you to each of you here today for sharing your valuable time with us. Now it is time to draw for our raffles. Okay, we're gonna swish it.
We are drawing for the Navy Fine Jewelry Beautiful Earrings.
Okay, you can't look in.
Rachel Philippi.
This is the larger than life. Okay, you swish some. Okay, and without looking pick. There we go.
Shay Matthews. We all know you have choices, but congratulations, everyone. This was an exciting raffle drawing this year, and we are so grateful to every single donor. We hope you'll look at those names on your insert, and thank you if you happen to visit their establishments. But again, we know you have choices. We're so glad you chose Girl Scouts today. Thank you so very much. And to close out this wonderful occasion, please join us in the singing of the Brownie song to conclude our program. And you'll find it in your program on page 2.
Let the little brownie get like in the very front. So she's the actual brownie. Yeah.
Right here, so everyone gets
There she goes. Right here.
You know the brownie song? Yeah, all right.
At least somebody does.
Yeah. You got. Well, yeah, I hope so. You got this. I believe in you.
Okay.
All right. Ready?
Okay.
Okay.
Three,
Go. Okay, go.
I got something in my pocket, it goes across my face. I keep it very close to me in the most convenient place. I'm sure you wouldn't guess it if you guessed a long, long while. So take it out and put it on, it's a great big brownie smile.